You know, as I said in my video about Frozen, it does not surprise me or anybody else that it won the awards that it has. It doesn't surprise me that it dominated the Annie Awards. It doesn't surprise me that it won Best Animated Picture at the Golden Globes. I'm not sure about Best Original Song, but it does not also surprise me that it dominated two main categories at the Oscars, which is Best Original Song and Best Animated Feature. It does not surprise me Frozen did that. Nor does it surprise me that as news reports are coming out, that it has surpassed The Lion King as possibly the all-time highest grossing animated film. Number 2 behind Toy Story, which probability within the next few weeks with the DVD Blu-ray release, with the recent digital HD release, with the fact that it's still in theaters around the world, that within a short amount of time, it's going to surpass Toy Story 3 as the all-time animated feature film. In fact, MoviePilot.com and through other variety of sources, has indicated that you take both Despicable Me movies, and they have not made what Frozen has done, or what Frozen has made. You take all Ice Age movies, combine them together, they have not made as much as Frozen has. Basically, any animated feature that has come out within the past century or so has not made what Frozen has. And a lot of people wonder why it took so long for Frozen to get to the big screen like it did. It's because when you're trying to make a film that will hopefully be the renaissance or the resurrection of your animation studio, it's going to be the resurrection of your animation glory. And it's going to usher in a new golden age, a new renaissance into your company for animation, then you want to make sure it's one of the best you got. You want to make sure it goes down as one of the best of all time. Now, some people might say that if you look closely at a few scenes here and there are some things that they should go back and refix and rework. It doesn't matter. There are some things in Lion King that were like that. And they kept them in. You know why? Because they were very minor, if not unnoticeable. And like I said in my video, despite how some people may view a movie like Frozen, even if you view it for its undertones or secret messages or whatever, you cannot deny the success that it has. You cannot deny that. You cannot deny what Frozen has become. Now the question is, where is the Frozen franchise? That's right. Disney has labeled it a franchise. Where does it go from now? Or where does it go from here? Well, speculation is they want to add some Frozen-related sparkles and stuff like that around the Disney parks. And that's okay. That's fine. You want to dedicate some ice rinks throughout the year at Disneyland, Disney World, Tokyo Disneyland, at the Hawaii Disney resorts, Disneyland Paris, Hong Kong Disneyland. You want to dedicate a lot of Frozen ice rinks or areas of the theme park to the movie? Fine, go ahead. You want to do a Frozen Broadway musical? Go right ahead. You've earned it. But then there's the talk of a sequel. Should a Frozen 2 be made? Well, honestly, it all depends on where they go, on how they would do it. But my honest answer is yes, they should do a Frozen 2, but they need to wait on it. They need to wait, make sure they get back the original cast, find out what kind of story they can go with, by blah, excuse me. Gotta get some coffee here. Hold on. But like I said, decide on what story they're going to go with and not go with a very predictable story. Some people are already predicting that a Frozen 2 would be the storyline of Elise, the Snow Queen, Queen Elise, or Princess Elise, whatever you want to call her, finally getting a love interest as well. And that might be true. Or you can go in the direction of maybe having Kristofferson and Anna get married. That's a possibility. But despite where they may go, I think anybody would say, hey, if you're going to do a Frozen 2, which I'm all for, make sure you get an original storyline. But I think before they do a Frozen 2, ladies and gentlemen, I think they need to do, and as crazy as this may sound to some people, I think what they need to do is a Frozen animated series. That's right. They need to do a Frozen animated series on Disney Channel. That's what they need to do. They need to do it on Disney Channel. They need to do it on Disney XD. They need to do it. Now you might say, I know you might say, well, Disney's not going to waste their the CGI animation that they used in the movie on a television series. They don't have to. What they can do is do what a lot of series have been doing lately. Go with that sort of 2D, almost paper-like animation. I mean, okay. Take a look at shows like Ever After, or take a look at shows like Monster High. You go in that direction if you want to do animation, because promotional-wise, that's how they've been advertising it at times, with that kind of animation stills and storyboards. And even if you do want to go, like I said, even if Disney decides, hey, we'll go CGI, they don't have to go into the CGI direction that they did for the movie. They can do CGI, but make it more like a tame CGI, like the CGI you would see in Tron, the Uprising, or something like that. Use that kind of CGI. Or use an example of that anyway. Or you can go the traditional route and go the traditional 2D animation with a little bit of CGI mixed in. Mostly go the Paperman route, if you will. Or go that Paperman route that they talk about. Or go the route that you use for Get a Horse. Or mainly, like I say, you go the Paperman route, or just go traditional 2D. But still, I think an animated series should be done. Now, should it stay in continuity with the movie, with the franchise, from the movie to the next movie? It's all up to what Disney would want to do. But I think either way, it would be good. I think if you want to keep it in continuity so it builds up to the next film, fine, go ahead. You want to keep it as its own separate entity? That's Disney's decision. Go ahead and do it. But I think a Frozen animated series is definitely needed before a sequel is needed. Here's why. Elise is Queen Elise, or Princess Elise, her powers are still growing and they're still developing. And I think an animated series, a Frozen animated series would really benefit from focusing at times on her powers developing and getting stronger and stronger, and her discovering what she can do. I mean, honestly, think about it. Her powers, to me, we just got a taste of how much her powers have developed, of how strong her powers have gotten. I know that sounds crazy, but I think we just got a taste. Yeah, she built that castle and everything, and that's great. That's like full power right off the bat. But to me, there's a lot more she could do. And I believe, and again, I know I sound like a broken record here, but I believe that an animated series can benefit by showing how much more her powers have grown, by showing what else she can do with her powers. finding what else she has discovered that her powers can do. I mean, honestly, I think that can really benefit. I think that kind of a storyline in an animated series, building possibly towards the next movie, if you want to connect it from movie to movie, would work. Or if you just want to keep it as its own separate entity, I think would work. I really do. But it all depends on what Disney would decide to do. What if Disney just decides to go with a sequel right off the bat, or if they decide, hey, let's do a series, then do the sequel. Because I think, honestly, in my opinion, a sequel is definitely worthy, is definitely deserving of being a reality. But I think they should go with the animated series first and see how people react to a continuation of some sorts to the Frozen franchise, and see how they'll react and if they'll be acceptable to a sequel, which I don't think they'll have a problem with. I don't think they will. But to me, an animated series is the first step. That's the first step. And again, like I said, you could use this animated series to focus on Elise's powers getting more stronger, developing more, having her discover what more she can do with her powers. Discover things that she didn't get to do, she didn't discover in the movie, and help. Like I said, if you want to connect you want to use the animated series as sort of a bridge from the first movie to the second movie, that's a good way to go. Or if you just want to keep it its own separate entity, it's still a good way to go, because still you develop her powers, and if you want to keep it its own separate entity, you can reference some of what happened in the series in the movie, if you want to do that, if Disney wants to do that. But to me, an animated series is needed. I mean, think about what she can do. Think about what Elise could do in an animated series, where part of it focuses on her, part of it focuses on her powers getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and all of a sudden her powers are developing even more so than normal. And she starts to discover that she can do things that wasn't shown in the movie. I mean, for example, I've always thought to myself, I thought, man, if they do an animated series, they could do an episode where Elise discovers that, they could do an episode where Elise discovers that her powers have grown to the point that her newest discovery, her newest addition to her powers, allows her to turn anything or anyone temporarily into snow. Yeah. I think that would be great. Basically, it would turn someone or something temporarily into snow. And I always thought, well, if they were to do an animated series, that would be sort of a good, funny, lesson-learning kind of episode involving her and her sister. Because, her sister, let's say, kind of being like Elise, being the caring and giving kind, would be like, you know what? I want to give these kids something special. I want to give them snow, but I want to be the snow. Basically, allow herself to get turned into snow. Become like a snow woman version of herself, and she could just turn into like a cloud. If she, like, let's say she melts down into a puddle and she just evaporates up into the sky and turns into snow for the kids, and they can play and they can build all these snowmen or women out of her, and it's only temporary. And like towards the end, she turns back to normal after like maybe a few misadventures or mishaps. She finally turns back to normal and all that. So I think that would be a great power for Elise to develop in the animated series, something like that. So I really think that would work. And there's so much more they can do. And it doesn't just have to be Elise they have to focus on and her powers. You can focus on Anna and Kristofferson's relationship. You could individually focus on Anna. You could individually focus on Kristofferson. I mean, and there's so much you could do, like, with the holidays and stuff. You could do Christmas-like episodes. You can do Halloween, believe it or not, Halloween-like episodes, or even Valentine Day episodes. Think about it this way: what I just mentioned about Elise discovering Elise's power is growing to the point that one of her newest additions to her powers is she can turn anyone or anything into snow. Think about it this way. You have Olaf, who probably won't. Let's say they do a Valentine episode. Let's say they want to do an animated series, and one of the episodes is a Valentine episode. And Elise's powers, where she could turn anyone or anything into snow, have just started to develop, and she's starting to control them. Let's say they do that kind of an episode, and basically focuses on Olaf not having anyone. You can have Anna, being the caring, giving type, going to her sister and say, you know what, I want to give Olaf something special for Valentine's. And Elise could be like, well, what do you want to give him? I say, I want to give him, just for the day, I want to give him me. And or give him, me. And she could be like, okay, well, why don't you just go to him and be with him, kind of deal. But this is where the interesting perspective of that would be. She could be like, no, I want to be a snow woman for him. I want you to turn me into a snow woman just for the day, temporarily, so Olaf could have a nice Valentine's Day. And I'm sure they would, and I'm sure if like I said, if they would go in that kind of a direction with that kind of an episode and those kind of powers being discovered, that would work. And it would only be temporary for the day. It would only be temporary for the day, for that episode. And you can even have it to where Kristofferson would understand, okay, I get it, you want to help Olaf, that's fine, no problem. And then, towards the end, you can have her and have him and Anna get together at the end and celebrate Valentine's Day privately. So, but again, this is just my opinion, folks. This is just my opinion that I believe a Frozen animated series needs to be done first. Then you do the sequel, because you want to see how people will react to seeing more Frozen, to see how they react to more additions to the franchise. And again, like I say, a Frozen animated series is the best way to go first. It's the first step before you do a sequel. And whether you want to, like I say, use the series as a bridge to connect from the first movie to the second movie, that's fine. Or if Disney just says, okay, we're just going to make it its own series, that's fine too. But I truly believe Frozen needs, if you're going to do a sequel to Frozen, the first thing you need to do is do an animated series, see how fans react to that. So, but to me, I believe a Frozen animated series is the first step towards doing a sequel. But that's just me. That's just me, folks. That's just me. Excuse me. That's just me. I take a look at a lot of movies from other studios like Kung Fu Panda and, the Dragon series, and they got their movies coming out and, this year, or they got the next Kung Fu Panda coming out in the next few years, and it's like, some of the series sometimes will connect and sometimes they'll be their own entity, but still, still the kind of, giving people a taste of what, kind of giving people a taste and see how they're going to react to seeing more added on to the franchises. And that's what I think Frozen, and sometimes they've been successes. The Dragon series has been a success. I think the Kung Fu Panda series on Nickelodeon's been a success. So I think a Frozen animated series is, like I said, is needed first to see how fans will react to another addition to the Frozen franchise, whether it's a continuation or it's its own entity, so they can build up interest and more interest to possibly see to the Frozen 2 movie, to the Frozen sequel. So, which again, like I said earlier, I don't think fans would have a problem with. So, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I am out.